Hello and good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday. It's another beautiful Wednesday here in the Dallas-Fort Worth metro area. I am Justin Nimergood. I am your host of the Real Estate Rockstars Podcast. Today we have another wonderful guest on, Mr. James Brown. Just a little bit about James. He is passionate, absolutely passionate about helping people build real wealth through real estate without the learning curve and the headaches of traditional landlording. James Brown is a seasoned real estate investor. He's a realtor, and he's the co-founder of Real Home Solutions, although he's going to share a little bit more about that and what's going on there, as well as the creator of Hybrid Real Estate Investing Strategy. Based in the Denver metro area, James works with busy professionals and investor partners to generate strong returns and long-term wealth by investing in quality homes in quality neighborhoods without dealing with tenants, toilets, or high-risk rehabs. His approach focuses on protecting capital, managing risk, and creating predictable cash flow. James is also the host of This Month in Real Estate Investing, where he breaks down market trends and investing strategies to help people gain more control over their financial future and build generational wealth. James, welcome to the show. We're so happy to have you here today.
Thanks, Justin. Yeah, that was a mouthful, right?
Yeah, it always is.
Yeah.
Never fails to disappoint. But I know that was a mouthful. So I mean, maybe if you could, just share in your own words, who's James Brown for our listeners out there?
Yeah. Whenever I get introduced or when I'm introducing myself, I usually blow people away. They're like, "Oh my God, you're like all over the place." And that is true. Um, yeah, so we have a short amount of time here, but like my background, I was a graphic designer for years, 25 years, and then
Wow.
got the real estate bug and dove in, trying to figure out investing on the
Yeah.
investing side of real estate, right?
Yeah.
And looked at all the different asset classes and just so many different ways to make money. And what really rung true for me was rent to own investing,
Rent to
lease
own.
options. The reason it's there's less brain damage because you're working with somebody that's got an owner's mindset that's going to
Mhm.
buy the house, and that makes a lot of difference versus
Yeah.
somebody just a regular renter that doesn't have skin in the game like they do with rent to own. So we don't have to deal with a lot of the headaches, um, vacancy up front.
Mhm.
We have all our numbers before somebody moves in with the way we do it. Um, yeah, a lot of benefits. And we're helping people become homeowners and not locking up inventory where they have no chance of ever buying that. They can buy it.
That's
Um,
that's
yeah.
wonderful. Yeah, and I think for a lot of I read a article the other day that was saying that this generation in particular is having the hardest time, in actually um, purchasing real estate, right? Obviously, we know real estate and what it's done in the last 25, 30 years. It's only gone up. I mean, hell, it's only gone up for 100 years, let's be honest. But the thing is, for whatever reason, is if you look at inflation and some of these other market conditions, it has created this absolute need to become creative in order to own real estate because it is so darn expensive for your average everyday, U.S. citizen or investor or desired homeowner out there. I know you do a lot in this space, and I know you've got a lot of plans, and you've obviously been studying this market extensively for a while. What could you share with our listeners and subscribers out there about this rent to own space and why this is a space that they should absolutely pay attention to?
One is that you can you can get a little higher rent than market. Um, we don't try to like bend anybody over, and they've got to agree to it, right? It's got to be a reasonable amount of rent. Um, because they are basically homeowners in training,
Mhm.
they typically, and we ask them to take care of most of the maintenance and repairs. not be calling us for, a toilet that's running, like, all that stuff. And so
Act like you
CapEx,
actually want to own a home, right?
exactly, yeah. So like as far as profit, your capital expenses, your CapEx is lower. Um, Management fees, like we don't even typically use a property manager. There's some, we had a water leak the other day, like, oh shit, I had to jump in,
Mhm.
but yeah, so profits higher on it, and we're helping people. So that's why I like that. And just a little, put a pin in it. Rent to own's been given a bad name by big companies some are out of the market, just left the market at the beginning of the year, um, and individuals that have set people up for rent to own and set them up for failure, basically. And so the way we do it, like we work with a loan originator, get all the docs and figure out like where they're at now and what they need to do to get a loan in the future. That's the most important step that gets missed. Um, so we need to know like how likely are they to be able to get a loan in the future and how long that's going to be. So it's just, I always hammer that home. Like I teach a continuing education class on rent to own, so agents and lenders can understand it and not be so scared of it, because we've all heard bad stories. So
Yeah.
that's yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious then in that scenario, what is your typical timeline on rent to own? Like, are they typically doing a, 1 year lease and then purchasing, or is it much longer than that, or is it much shorter than that? What is your typical timeline?
Yeah, great question. Um, Most people, it's 1 to 3 years. You know,
Okay.
um, we're doing one right now that's up to 10, and they can purchase it any time that makes sense for them. We're always having to figure out like we buy a house at today's price. Generally, the market goes up, but right now we're in a kind of
Standstill.
declining market, right,
Yeah.
from where it had hit, especially Denver. I mean, whew, we went crazy. And so now it's like, oh, that's not worth what our price to those end buyers was. So just gonna have to wait around for the market to come back.
Yeah, you
Um,
guys had quite the green rush and then quite the
yeah,
home rush. And then similar to Austin, it kind of faded out a little bit, right?
yeah, yeah,
For lack of a better term, but
yeah,
it's still a great market though. You want to keep your eye on, because nationwide there's a couple of them, and Denver's still one of them, and I would still say Austin is still one of them too. Now you're also a realtor and obviously an investor yourself. I mean, talk to us and talk to our listeners out there about, and I mean, I know the obviously rent to own is certainly an investment strategy. What are some of the other investing strategies that you regularly leverage, or that recommend for our listeners and subscribers out there that they become familiar with as they look at this market and the landscape today?
yeah. Um, so as an investor focused agent, my main thing is co-living, so renting by the room. So, similar to house hacking, but
Hmm.
not necessarily like living in the house, like you buy a house and rent out all the rooms separately. That's one of, besides sober living, is about one of the only ways to really cash flow in the Denver market, where our rents just aren't keeping up. Um, so I've gone hard into that, and I'm actually building a nationwide team of agents, investor focused agents, specifically like co-living being a niche, because it's really growing.
Nice.
And for the bigger markets, we're working with Pad Split, which is like the Airbnb app for co-living. So they do the
Huh.
marketing, screening, rent collection, uh, and then the rest is handled by a property management company or the landlord. So it's not
That's
without its challenges, but it's providing affordable housing, and it's what will cash flow.
that's interesting because obviously, well, we were talking before the show, and first place I got my license was in California, and served that market for a while, almost 15 years before making my way back to the Dallas Fort Worth market where I grew up. And that market has similar trend line, that the rents are not keeping up, obviously, with the price of a home to buy a home. So in order to cash flow property, you're you know, usually having to do a co-living situation or house hacking, as you called it, right? Which is what
Right.
I've known it as. Um, People I would say, especially investors are fearful of that, myself included. There's a risk tolerance level to it because obviously you have the dynamic of you know uh, tenants all getting along, like just putting it out there. So I would be curious, what have you employed as far as maybe your process in order to help mitigate those tenant, issues, if you will.
I'm not good at managing or hosting. I'm good until it goes bad. I'm too much of a softie, like I want everybody to get along. I'm a people pleaser, right? And I think everybody else is, but not everybody else is. And you know, and so in co-living, you can get people that are grown children, like they're just kind of babysitting a little bit. Um,
Grown children, I love it.
yeah, it's and everybody's different, but yeah, you get all these different personalities and schedules, so like we've got a gal we're trying to get out of our house right now. They won't leave, and she'd be up late at night and making noise, and the guy right below her is like got to get up early, and he's just been annoyed. So once she's out, I'm gonna let him have the choice of moving to the upstairs room, like
There you go.
so.
Hopefully that'll settle some things too.
Yeah, but,
That's funny. I feel like I have a little bit of what you have in me too. I would be too too easy to want to please everyone, and then not really able to be the bad guy, if you will.
yeah,
Because I mean, what landlord really wants to throw anyone out? No one. I mean,
yeah.
that's just not typical. So interesting. Now, you did mention before the show you do have some new plans for Real Home Solutions. I think that might be transforming into something else. I would love for you to maybe just share with our audience what's your vision, right? You said a nationwide team, but go into
Yeah.
that. Like, what's your vision for this?
With the rent to own, I'm not quite sure at this point. I'll be rebranding. So Real Home Solutions we're shutting that down as a brand. I'll still offer rent to own. Right now I'm going to focus on the co-living, and also we can get into what I'm going to be doing more locally on the investor agent side. But yeah, the rent to own, like, because the market's going down, our purchase prices in the future, which we usually rely on some appreciation and making money there, it we're kind of in a declining or a stabilized market where it makes it hard on the investing side. So I'm just kind of trying to get my head around
Mm-hmm.
where that can go. But I think there's a huge opportunity because two of the big companies, Home Partners of America,
Mm-hmm.
which was backed by BlackRock, they just got out of the market completely first of the year. Well, rebranding, shutting down their property management companies, changed names or ownership.
Whatever it is that they do to creatively brand like that,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so they got out at the beginning of the year. Same with Divvy, Divvy was another big company backed by a fund. We're not backed by a fund. I just help mom and pop investors, people with W-2s that don't know or care or have the time to like dive into all the details of real estate. So I help them,
Nice.
find good investments. And rent to own has been just like that's my go-to. That's what I love. And they like it too, right? They're helping people. I mean, I've had an investor in a hairy deal where the buyers were being really difficult to work with, and he stuck with it because he just wanted to be able to help these people and make money. So
I meant to ask you too, do you guys typically on the rent to own, do you typically have an arrangement with the current owner where you help them continue to manage and rent it out until the point when they're ready to sell? Or do you typically take the property over on the front end, or do you do a little bit of both?
okay, so yeah, great question, because there's different ways to do it. Our
Yeah.
favorite is to find a buyer first.
Mm-hmm.
Ideally, somebody that's got around 10% of the purchase price, which is a pretty good number, especially like Denver market. It's 50 grand on a $500,000, house here in Denver. So they're typically self-employed and they just need some time, 'cause to get a loan, you got to have a little bit of a track record. And
Mm-hmm.
of course, there's a lot of programs out there, not as many as '08, which got everybody in trouble, right? But if they don't fit that, there's a sliver of the population that wants to buy a house, and fit our program where the risk is lower. We'll just let them pick a house out on the market, and then we will buy it. We, meaning me and my investors. We've done it the other way, like what I was telling you earlier. Already was a long-term rental, and we turned it into a rent to own. So they've got that one up to 10 years, but most of these are like 1 to 3 years.
1 to 3 years.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just velocity of money, churn it. You're right.
Social current, as I like to call it, the current of money flow, if you will.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I was curious about that, right? Because there's so many different ways you can skin that cat, and it's like, what makes the most sense. But I mean, to your point, if you find the buyer first, you've kind of already figured out the end state, right?
Right. Yeah, I love that. That way is way better because we know how much they have to put down. We know how much they can afford for rent. We've already got the purchase price. Everything's all set. We know, and then we don't have vacancy. Like as soon as we buy it, they move in. So we're not like guessing, oh, I hope we can get this much rent, and trying to find people that have 10%. Just it's harder. Like the 10-year one, we did it the other way. We had that house, turned it into a rent own, and we got somebody with 5%.
Yeah.
It's still some decent skin in the game, but it's not as much as we'd prefer. But I love it's such a sweet family. They're not from the US. They moved here. They were living in a crappy apartment in a sketchy neighborhood where they were afraid to go outside during daylight. And, so we got them a home
and
with
you
a
helped
yard.
change their life, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
One of the perks, I'm sure, of being in that space for sure.
Yeah.
We're gonna switch gears here to kind of the final segment of our show, and this is where I'm gonna ask you a couple curveballs. They're fun. They're fun questions, though. There's really no right or wrong answer to them. Just answer them from honestly whatever your gut, whatever your instinct is. Just answer as such, and we'll have some fun with that. So,
Okay.
all right. First one is this. Let's say it's your 80th birthday, James. Set it up for us. Who's there? What's going on? Paint the picture for us. What's going on at your 80th birthday?
Damn, that is a curveball. I have no idea. Let's think through this. I'm 55. I don't have kids.
Look great for 55, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. If you look at my folks, they're still alive. They're in their 80s, still doing well. They live back home in Alaska. They're thriving. Yeah. They've had a few health scares and stuff, but they're still doing well, but I'm way different, right? I
Yeah.
don't have kids, and I'm not up there. I don't know. I I don't know if I'll ever stop working, right? Like I like doing it. I like helping people. Um, but I don't know. I'm real active right now, and I want to stay active. You know, I kiteboard, I dirt bike, snow bike, ski,
Oh,
snowboard.
snow bike. I've never heard of that one before. That's a new one.
Oh, Google it. So
Yeah.
it's basically you take a dirt bike, remove the wheels, and put a ski on the front and a snowmobile track on the back. So think of it like a snowmobile, but with one ski.
Oh, that sounds
It's
amazing.
it's so fun. That's so fun, and a lot easier than snowmobiling. Like we can just go anywhere we want to go, pretty much. Um, so that's me now. I don't know if I'll be doing that kind of stuff. Like me and my buddies that are all like in our 50s, 60s are like, I don't think the snow biking we're going to be able to keep doing this much longer, but we might be able to like get on e-bikes in the summer and
Yeah.
you know
Flop around, kind of
ski. So
have some fun. That's cool.
yeah, I love
Well,
to
that's
travel.
good. Always young at heart, then. We'll just say you're always going to be young at heart, no
Yeah,
matter what
yeah.
the age. Okay, so the second question is this. It's similar to the first question, but it's got kind of a fun slant. So let's imagine for a moment it's your last day on Earth. You can only preserve 3 items in your time capsule. What are those items and why?
Items.
And there's really no limits to what those items are. I've had some people share some interesting items before. I'll just leave it at that because I don't want
Yeah.
to influence your answer here. But yeah, like imagine you can only basically your legacy lives on through these 3 items. What would they be, basically?
Man, I'm drawing a blank. Like as far as material things, I don't know.
Or memories or pictures or
Yeah, I got. There's some moments in my life that were kind of, for me, just kind of cool. Like one of the first snowboard contests I did, I won it. And so there's pictures of that wearing a one-piece suit back in the 80s. Like that was cool. Went to Valdez, Thompson Pass, where all the helicopter skiing is in Alaska, kiteboarding, and I was using my kite, and I jumped. I was like way off the ground, and a photographer took a picture, and it was like in the Patagonia catalog.
oh,
Yeah,
how cool is that? Do you still have a copy of that somewhere? Tell me you
yeah,
do.
somewhere in storage. Yeah,
That's that's cool. Really
yeah.
cool.
One other thing, if we're doing 3, like just moments in my life where I was like, oh, that was so cool, and a little maybe ego thing too, but I used to be super shy. Didn't like speaking in front of groups. This is not as freaky as like in person, but I started getting on podcasts. I run my own local real estate investing group with some other folks. So I get up and speak in front of that. So, 30 to 50 people. But I worked my way up, and then I was asked to speak at our brokerage regional rally. There's 300 people there, which for me was like, oh my God. I didn't lose my mind, but I had worked my way up to that. So like I've got pictures of me standing in front of this huge group, and that was like that really was impactful for me. Just like there's a lot of mindset that has gone into getting to where I am now and feeling comfortable doing this kind of stuff. So
That's cool. Yeah, I've had a couple moments like that in my life as well. You may know Lewis Howes. He's pretty
oh
big
yeah,
in the personal development realm. I had
yeah,
the opportunity to speak from stage with him, and that was quite the treat. So I totally get it, and it's a freaky moment, but you do it, and then when you've done it, you're like, that wasn't so bad,
yeah,
at the end of it. So
yeah.
that's it's really
When
cool.
it's not about you, you're just sharing your knowledge and helping people. That's that makes all the difference up here, really.
It's stuff you already know, right? This is stuff that's within you. It's ingrained within you, if you will. So
yeah. If you don't know what the hell you're talking about, that makes it scary. But if you know what you're talking about, it's that also, yeah, huge.
Absolutely. Last question for you. What is your definition of a real estate rock star?
Rock stars. There's so many different types of rock stars, right? I think it's having a purpose and actually helping people, right? That's really the key. And if that's your focus, then you're going to be a rock star. You'll hit your numbers and help more people, right? But if you're just focused on you and the money, that's not going to get you where you need to go with integrity. So
it's amazing how that works out, right? You serve more people, help more people get what they want, you'll get everything you want, right?
Yeah. Zig Ziglar? Was that?
Something like
that. Quote, I think.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. James, it's been an absolute pleasure. I want to make sure subscribers and listeners out there can have a chance to connect with you. So what's the best way for them to do that, to find you, to connect with you, to continue this conversation?
Yeah. Go to Linktree/partner with James Brown.
Partner with James Brown. There you have it, folks. We had another wonderful week, another wonderful topic, some investing, some rent to own investing with Mr. James Brown. James, thank you so much for being on our show today. We really appreciate it. Folks, we'll be back with you again next week, same time. Oh, actually, we won't be with you next week because next week's actually Christmas Eve, but we'll be back with you in a couple weeks here. And have another great guest on as we roll right into 2026. We'll bid you adieu. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful day and a wonderful rest of your week. Bye.